We begin with breaking news tonight. An Amber Alert is issued for a missing girl last seen in Beckley. History being made with Jim Justice, the new governor-elect of West Virginia, giving a quite candid speech. As people tonight are just left to pick up the pieces, and the scene behind me is one like so many across Greenbrier County tonight. Greenbrier County is getting the worst of this storm damage right now. Several major roads have even been shut down. So many families experiencing loss tonight, and emergency crews still out searching for more victims, just hoping to find any survivors. An off-duty deputy offers his assistance to fire crews in Coal City. He spoke from his heart today, talked about the fact that the Mountain State needs jobs, hope, and opportunity. So we're all looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table as governor. I think it's safe to say that I'm at one of the most popular spots in Beckley to go trick-or-treating. I'm right along Vine Street, where a house has set up a haunted carport. You know, we were talking earlier about some of your more memorable moments and the 8 years that you have served in the military. So share with our viewers what you shared with me earlier. One of Southern West Virginia's most prominent officers of law enforcement is moving on with his life. You heard it here, Mr. O'Brien saying WV Beckley will be the savior of the city. We're walking the streets of White Sulphur Springs, a place once full of homes and people living their lives in a very routine way. Now this is what's left. We need to just kind of debrief. I think we have so many really big statewide races that we've been following. Of course, the top one being the governor's race, which we do know the results of. Jim Justice, the new governor-elect, who is a Democrat, but not really a politician. So could this really change the direction of our state? Muddy tennis shoes from someone's home, and this is just like many other belongings that you're seeing strung out all across the area here. We are still gathering new information on this breaking story for you. I just left the scene of that officer-involved shooting. Well, every day we tell you the stories of other people's lives, but tonight we want to share a very personal story of one of our own. And there's a pretty big crowd, obviously, because this place is so cool. Not looking too bad right now. We had some rain move in about 15-20 minutes ago, so keeping my fingers crossed that I will stay dry out here this evening. The story of destruction in the hills of West Virginia made news all around the world. Help immediately started pouring in, but that did cause some problems for rescuers and residents alike. Car after car can be seen pouring into the small community of White Sulphur Springs, a normally quiet and calm town, bustling with people. Some onlookers, others offering their help.
We just walk the streets and ask people if there's anything we can do to help them. And so that's what we've been doing, is helping them.
People are coming from all over to help residents like Lena Hoke pick up the pieces after the severe flood took her car and destroyed her home.
I'm shocked, devastation. Yeah, just pure and utter devastation. I'm just still in shock. I'm just numb.
This is what's left of Lena's home. Family heirlooms like her dining room table destroyed under the rubble.
I've never experienced anything like this before. So I don't know how you move forward, just one foot in front of the other and just let God lead us through, this valley, like the saying that my husband and I have is the same God in the valley is the same God on the mountain, and he's in the valley with us today.
Although help is needed, officials are warning West Virginians to stay away from the area.
Do you live up here?
Traffic, just like you see here, clogging roads and hampering recovery efforts.
If people are choosing to drive downtown White Sulphur Springs or really anywhere in southern West Virginia to look at the devastation and the destruction that's been caused by the flooding, we ask, and the state would ask, that they remain home.
Even locals urging you to stay home.
What would really help is if people would stay home that don't live here, because it is clogging up what they need to do to help us. So please stay home if you don't live here so that we can get the help we need.
Agencies like the Red Cross and United Way are accepting and distributing donations. The outpouring of help has been overwhelming. The people of West Virginia are extremely grateful for the help we've seen since those floodwaters washed through.
We need to humble ourselves in His presence, and we need to pray. What is prayer? Simply this, is communicating to Him.
Week after week, from behind the pulpit, Pastor John Jordan preaches about having faith in impossible circumstances.
Because God, if you turn away from me one moment, I'm going to crumble and I'm going to fall.
And the power of prayer.
Friend, we need to be people of prayer.
But behind closed doors, he's a man fighting a very personal battle with a lot of weapons.
3 chemo pills that I take the same time every day.
8 years ago, Jordan received news that would change his life.
I was diagnosed with CLL, chronic lymphomic leukemia.
A diagnosis that is usually a death sentence for most people within 5 years.
My mind began to race with all the what if questions. What if, what if this means death?
Their daughter, now 16, is a daddy's girl. The news hit her the hardest.
That was my first thought. He might die. And it scared me.
But the most powerful weapon in his arsenal is the power of prayer. A promise from God for healing, years before the diagnosis was even delivered.
He communicated to me 8 years before I was ever diagnosed that I was going to battle cancer, but that I was going to be all right.
Through it all, Jordan believes that continuous prayer will bring healing, and his strength,
For the reason I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.
he finds it at the pulpit.
The greatest peace I find is when I am ministering in the pulpit. It's in those moments that everything else in life is blocked out, and I'm there for a purpose.
I'll never stop preaching that He's a healing God, because it doesn't matter what's going on in my body, He's still a healing God, and He is always going to be faithful.
Pastor Jordan's still praying for a miracle. His eldest son, Nathaniel, is away at college right now in Florida. Doctors are saying he's the possibility of the best match for a bone marrow transplant, and that is scheduled for early next year. They're still praying for a miracle, of course. Working for you in southern West Virginia, I'm Jessica Schueler.